I felt like I was sacrificing myself with work and being a mom. It's so hard when you own your own business and you want to show up for yourself because you're still passionate about your work. You also want to show up for your children and be there. I almost felt like I was sacrificing myself so much. Oh, I'm so tired, but I need to do it. I need to do it all. I need to be able to show that I'm a good, hardworking woman. But then again, it's my first child. There are moments where I was psycho, so depressed in the middle of the night, but not really understanding why am I so sad? Oh, I don't know. I just had these crazy raging hormones and I was mad, but at the same time so happy that I have this precious baby. I'm to the minute on time usually. I think because when I have children in LA, you have to time everything out. And you're
with
driving,
traffic and everything?
Traffic. So I'm always I'll be there at 2:22 and people will be like, okay.
Okay, good for you. I want to talk about how you walked in and you're like, oh, is this a video?
Oh my God, so embarrassing. And you're like, Ami, when's the last time you did a podcast?
No,
I'm I don't do podcasts that
literally.
much.
Well,
Yeah.
that makes it extra special.
Yeah.
I want to.
Thank you. I have so much baby hair. Yeah, because I did not know it was going to be video.
Well, that means you haven't had, probably didn't do a podcast for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's been a few
so I
years.
feel extra honored today.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think the last time I talked to you was during COVID.
Yes, we did an Instagram live.
Yeah, we did.
That was wild times. But you know that the COVID, my Instagram live momentum during COVID was the catalyst for this.
That's so incredible.
Isn't it crazy?
Incredible how you were able to pivot.
Yeah, I was just I think I like this. It's
Yeah.
time to move forward,
That's
do
very
something
inspiring,
different.
yeah.
Which is also why I was excited to talk to you about, because you are been in this industry for so long. How many years has it been?
I started 2008.
You were
I was 20 years.
You're
yeah.
the founding mother.
Founding mother. I know. I truly feel that way because the younger generation are so young, and I'm oh my gosh, I literally can almost be your mom if I had you at 16 or 20.
How old were you when you started?
20.
Okay, so you were kind of adultish.
Yeah, but I was so immature. Even now that I think 20 is still so young. I was 19 or 20. I was so young. I was I think 20 is really young if you think about it.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Your brain is not fully developed.
No, I was so young, and I think I really matured much later in life.
That's good, though.
In a way where at 20, I think I felt like I was still 16 and I sounded like I was 16. I was immature. I grew up much later, not until I was in my 30s. I felt like an adult.
But I kind of love that.
Even now, sometimes I'm I don't.
Am I there yet?
Yeah, and then I'm reading or listening to children parenting books, or I see these things on TikTok that pop up, and I'm oh, I get it. And I'm I feel I'm still going through that toddler mindset. Yeah.
Well, also, to be fair, when you have kids, you really reparent yourself and completely rewire your brain, because you realize that you have so many issues that you weren't aware of and didn't bother you until you have kids that now it affects them as well. So there's a lot of things that are at play here. So I commend you for doing this. This is a lot. I always talk about adulting is one hell of a ride if you want to do it properly.
And nobody knows if they're actually an adult yet.
I refuse. I'm fighting against becoming an adult. And I love that I do social media because it's kind of pushing me to be more of a kid and play more. Because, life gets so serious between career and kids and all that thing. So I really love this. But for you, when you started and you were kind of started in an industry that didn't really exist, and now you're here, and it's been 15 years? I don't know if I don't do math well. 2000, yeah, let's call it 15. 2008.
And what's 2025? So 17 years?
17 years. Okay, so you are now meeting the younger generation of content creators.
Oh my God, that sounded so weird saying 17 years.
It's a grown person.
Yeah.
Looking back now at how you were moving around in the industry to how the kids now do it, where do you see the biggest difference?
Now, because you can go viral so fast and you have such a big platform. Because when I started on a fashion, on Blogspot on Google. So people couldn't discover me. You had to type in songofstyle.com, which was my blog name.
Yeah.
And now, like, you have these social media platforms like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube where people can just accidentally discover you without knowing exactly who you are. So I think there's a little bit more pressure, even though it seems very free, but like you can say the wrong thing and you can't go back and delete. Or you
People
instantly get
see it
judged.
right away.
Yeah, you instantly get judged. Whereas for me, I only had like 5 followers or 5 visitors. And I'm pretty sure 4 of them was me refreshing the page. So it's less
You were your
judgment.
biggest supporter. I love that.
I was, the biggest refresher. And then eventually somehow like people started discovering me, but it was much slower. Like I think it took me like 10 years to create and gain an audience. Whereas now everything is so much quicker.
But you see, I think that is the biggest gift that the kind of first wave of content creators had. Because something that I've realized is that when you go online and when you put yourself out there, it takes you time to figure out like your voice, your identity online, what you want to share, what you don't want to share, like boundaries, who you're speaking to. And because of this instant gratification now and this idea of like you either go viral right away and it's this success story overnight, or it's just not meant to be. Like, you're not good at it. And I see it a lot because we mentor a lot of creators. And I think that there's so much magic, and I'm starting to talk about it more and more. There's so much magic in that being not being discovered so quickly, because then it's like you're creative, and it's like you going through this motion of realizing and figuring out who you are without the insane scrutiny and the pressure. You know what I mean? And that's so powerful.
Also, I think what's been amazing is because I didn't have such a big audience just from the get-go, it was really my hobby and my passion project. So I was willing to do all of this and not feel the burnout, not worry about making money because I had a job. I was also in college, but I also had side jobs. I was working full-time technically. And so it was so fun for me. Like, it's just something that I would do staying up 3 a.m. in the morning, like trying to like research photos, find inspo, think about outfit ideas, how like what I want to wear the next morning to school and shoot it. It was just so fun.
Yeah, I feel like now it's a very business mind focus.
I think for me that came
going
so much later, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just didn't have that business mind until much later. Like I was still like almost like 7-8 years into it, and whatever I was wearing was really truly like what I was wearing that day and in photographing. But I had a friend and a bunch of influencers who were taking multiple photos, outfit changes throughout the day, which is so smart actually. But that just didn't come naturally to me. Everything was just whatever it is, I post. I was not strategic, which I think is actually really smart, but that was so different. So I think that's why like the business part for influencing came so much later for me.
When did it click for you that, okay, this is something that I can really build?
When I first found my manager, she reached out to me. I'm still with the same manager.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was much later. I would say like 2011, 12 is like when I got management. And also this is like so different because it was like a little bit before Instagram when I had the blog, when I started it. I don't know when Instagram started, but obviously Instagram was what caterpillared and like made me more like popular or like more well known. Yeah.
Well, you definitely, like, I like that you're talking about the fact that it took you longer to figure out.
Yeah,
how to
also I
really-
had a job. So when I first started, I was working at a clothing store and a discount shoe store called DSW. Do you know that brand?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like discount designers. And in San Francisco, I remember I had this blog. The blog kind of took off like 50 visitors, 500 visitors a month. So it's not like that crazy. But people started recognizing me slowly if they were really into fashion. And I remember on Black Friday, I was like on my knees getting like shoes for people, and this girl goes, "Oh my gosh, don't you have a blog? Aren't you Aimee Song?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Why are you working here?" And then that kind of hit me. I was like, "Oh, is this like an embarrassing thing?" And then I was like, "Girl, discounts."
I love it. Truly showing up authentically.
Yeah, I was like, discounts. But also to pay rent and art supplies. My second year in college, I got an internship at my professor's architecture firm. So that really like helped me get into like the interior design industry because I was like so hardworking and I loved it. So blogging was always on the side, and being an influencer was being like always on the side. So I would go to school, go to Fashion Week, come back. But it was not like what it is now. Like I didn't have to document every 24/7.
So how did you navigate it the way that the industry developed and your peers, because it is very influencer content first type of world. And for you, because it was something kind of on the side among all these other interests that you had, did you not feel like the pressure, sometimes kind of lost of like, how do I, what
No,
is my
actually, I
thing?
think that was so good. I was a bit more authentic to my following. That's what I always hear. Like, that's the feedback that I seem real because I didn't do the influencing as a job. It was really like, hey, this is what I wore to school today.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what I'm wearing to my job. Yeah. And I didn't have to do so many jobs in the beginning, like branded content. I didn't have to because I had my interior design job.
But then at what point did it become a full time? Because you moved then to really focus on your personal brand.
Yes. So I moved back to LA because this is when I was in San Francisco and I'm originally from LA. I moved back to LA because I was just flying to LA for jobs all the time. Obviously, like Instagram had taken off, but I still had my own interior design, like little firm. I was still working as an interior architect. And I remember I was sharing a lot of that too. And I had clients. I had like even like a really big jewelry brand. I did their retail store. But at one point, I was just traveling way too much for influencer jobs. And the money was so much better.
Yeah.
Like for interior design, it would take me literally a full year to what I was making. I could do that in like a month for an influencer job. But my passion, I just was so passionate about interior design. I loved it so much that I just kept on like 1 or 2 clients a year. And I continued to
Throughout
do it.
the years?
Yeah,
you've been
I
doing
did
that?
it up until, I think I did it up until like 2016 or 17. Yeah, I had like 1 or 2 clients, but it was mostly influencing. Like it's crazy that I continued to do interior
Yeah, that's
design.
a lot.
Yeah.
So in 2017, you stopped working with clients.
Yeah,
And then
and
it was 100%.
100%
Social media.
Social media.
Did you feel like you're kind of getting lost in it a little bit because then you didn't have those other things that you were doing to keep you, in what you were really passionate about?
I think either 2017 or 2018, I was like the busiest. I was just traveling. I had bought a house and I was traveling 300 days out of the year. Can you believe 300
That's
days?
insane.
That's like, I had never like spent more than 4 or 5 days in LA. And I had bought this beautiful house that I like completely, like redid because it was like a starter home in my dream neighborhood. It was so beautiful. And I did everything I wanted to. And I like took people on that journey too. Like I was like YouTubing it. I had Instagram, and videos are just like, they take so much work because you're like also editing, constantly filming. And then I was traveling so much, like doing shows, jobs, going to Asia, and LA is so far from everywhere.
It really
Yeah,
is.
like to Europe.
Let's take a quick break and talk about natural cycles. I've been using the Natural Cycles app to track my menstrual cycle and fertility for a few years now. And for those that don't know, Natural Cycle Birth Control offers a non-hormonal, not invasive alternative to traditional birth control. And it is the first FDA-cleared birth control app. So you know that I talk about a lot getting to know your body, self-awareness mentally and physically. And the reason why I love Natural Cycles app is the fact that it gives me the data to make informed choices when it comes to my body. So one of its standout features that it uses biometrics data, which basically means it's tracking things like your body temperature, menstrual cycle patterns, and even optional ovulation tests to give you a real personalized insight into your fertility. I know there are other apps out there, but most of these apps, they just assume your cycle is 28 days. But let's be honest, every woman's body is so different, and the Natural Cycles app actually adapts to your cycle, even if it's irregular, and tells you your daily fertility status based on your own data. So this is such a great example of knowledge is power, because you're not just tracking, you're actually understanding your body on a whole new level. So whether you're looking to prevent pregnancy or plan for it, the Natural Cycles app is a tool to support you in understanding your cycle. To learn more, head to naturalcycles.com or click the link in the show notes and use my promo code Valeria to claim 15% off an annual subscription plus a free Bluetooth thermometer at checkout. That's naturalcycles.com with promo code Valeria. Natural Cycles is for 18 plus and does not protect from STIs. Always read and follow the instructions for use. That's naturalcycles.com with promo code Valeria.
I made so much money and I had such a successful career those years, but I think I was the most depressed. And I kind of had like a breaking point. And I remember being honest about it on YouTube when I was like very active on YouTube, but I was not honest on it like on Instagram, because YouTube, my community was a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
But I felt a little bit more connected because every video I did was like 20 minutes. So anybody who's watching a 20-minute video as opposed to like a 30-second video, they're just going to connect with you because they're naturally really interested in you. So I was very honest. Like I was like honest about like how depressed I was. And I did that in the middle of the video too, because I didn't want to tell everybody.
Right.
I don't know.
So
It just felt
really
so intimate.
stuck. Yeah.
It just felt very intimate.
Was it scary for you to share it though?
I was just in a breaking point. I was so depressed. I had like such a sad, like I had like my sister was not mentally doing well, and I just felt so sad. I don't know. I was like in Paris. I remember couture, and I just kind of felt suicidal. I was not happy. Like I was not in a good moment. Like that time, yeah.
Which is crazy because you were like at the height.
Can
of your
you
career.
believe? Yeah, I was literally like at the couture for sitting front row, doing the best shows, flown out by the designers. It was incredible, and I think why it made me sad was I remember people were leaving comments and saying goals, dream, goals. Like everybody was saying goals. You know, like it was like that era where people always say like goals. You have my dream life, and I was like, girl, if you only knew, you know, like, and I felt bad that I felt like I was such a facade, like a fake facade of living this high, fashionable, glamorous life that everybody wants.
Yeah.
And then yet I don't feel happy or fulfilled inside. So then, yeah, like I kind of like took a slight, like slow down things a
So
bit.
how did you, I understand you made the decision, you're like, okay, I'm not going to push through, like it's time to step back. What was your first action that you took to be like, okay, I have to find a way now to come back to myself so I can live my life? What were the first steps?
So in 2020, when the pandemic hit, so that's when I like actually for the first time slowed down, and I did this thing called Hoffman therapy. Have you heard of it? It's like a intense therapy. So 2000
Is it breath work?
No, it's like so 2018 or 2019 was when I first did therapy for the first time, like seeing somebody like a therapist. Like I have a couple friends who are like big on therapy, but because they're addicts, they're like one is like used to be a drug addict and the other one used to be an alcoholic. So they had like seen therapists all the time, and they were like, "Hey, Ami, you should go see a therapist."
Was it hard for you because you're like, I don't have that addiction? Like
Yeah,
my
like
situation
I don't
is not
even
like
drink
that.
alcohol. I've
Yeah.
never smoked in my life. I'm like super straight edge. But like I was like aware of like, you know, like people being depressed. But it also mental illness was not something that people talked about openly in 2018, 2019. Like nobody
Yeah.
really talked about mental health as much.
And probably culturally.
Yeah, I'm Korean, dating an Italian, like, you know, like it was
We don't do therapy.
yeah, nobody really does therapy unless you're like clinically depressed or, you know, like, and so I just never thought that was for me until like, I think it was like 2018 when I started doing therapy once a month. And then 2020 hit during the pandemic, and one of my close girlfriends, Jen Akin, she had gone to Hoffman. And she came back different. I like something changed in her.
And you noticed it.
I noticed it. Yeah. Because she lived so close to me, and I always looked up to her, and she was such a perfectionist, go, 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 go. And then she came back from Hoffman. She took all of our phones away, like on game night, because we would always do game nights, hang out. And then literally, like, we would always have to, like, talk. Because usually when we hang out, girl, we're always still on our phone. Filming things, posting on Snapchat, Instagram. And this is, like, when TikTok was still not as big, because it's 2020. Something changed in her. And then that was the first time I started living with Jacopo, my current partner. So Jacopo was living in New York, and we had never lived together. We had long distance for like 5 years or whatever, however we were dating at the time. And then we had never spent more than 2 weeks together ever. And during the pandemic in 2020, you have to live with somebody, you know, like, and then we realized something is off.
The ultimate test.
Like, whoa, how did we date for 5 years and then like we're like, this is so weird. But it was mostly me. It was mostly me, but I made him go to Hoffman. Like, I'm the one who needed it. I was like, bro, you need therapy. And I was so toxic now that I think about it. So I sent him to Hoffman first. And he
No way. He went first.
I was like, you need to go to Hoffman.
I mean, I gotta give him so much credit for not resisting.
And now that I'm so much more mature than I was 25 years ago, I realized how toxic I was. I was such a toxic girlfriend to him. I was the worst. I'm like, I feel so bad. He's so incredible. Anyways, but he went to Hoffman and he came back. He's like, no, you need to go. He's like, you need to go. So it's like 10 years of therapy in 1 week. You do like 8 to 10 hours of therapy every single day, Monday through Friday.
Is it certain
no phones?
Is it certain methods or like a combination of different methods?
It's like 15 people. I don't know what kind of method it is, but it's incredible. It's life changing, especially because for me, I started doing social media when I was like 19 or whatever, like so young. So basically almost my whole adult life, basically I've been online, right?
Yeah.
So I always, even though I'm not performing, I'm always constantly on my phone filming. And there's no time to reflect. I realized I never had time to reflect. Whenever I was going hiking, working out, I always listen to music or podcasts. When I'm on walks, I'm always listening to something. When I'm driving, I'm listening to something or calling.
In distraction mode.
So I'm never at peace, especially also because I was traveling 300 days out of the year. I'm constantly on and talking to somebody, right? So I never had the moment of reflection, never, which is so crazy, of silence, of peace. And at Hoffman, you do that. They take your phone away. They take your laptop away. So there's no distraction. And whatever therapy you did, you're constantly reflecting. What just happened? There's no music you can turn to. You can journal.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Like, so that was the first time where I had to face everything. And I realized what the cost of my depression was, my childhood stuff, like how my parents were. And I'm so grateful I did it, because I was able to find what my negative patterns were so that I could break that cycle and not give it to my children.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I did it before kids. Like, so grateful.
The self-awareness part is so huge because you just bring it all up to the surface. Because you can go mad you're like running in circles after yourself, trying to understand, like, why am I the way I am? Like, what's going on? Why am I sabotaging my life? Why am I unhappy? Especially when you're in a position where you have everything that you ever wanted or thought you wanted. So there's definitely a lot of identity questions. But I never heard of the Hoffman. I'm gonna check it out. That's really interesting. But it was all here, no? Like, it was a lot of mental work.
From Hoffman or in general?
Was it a lot of, like, were you talking a lot? Was it a lot of...
You don't really have to talk to other people. And the other thing that's really amazing is you don't use your real name and you don't talk about what you do. And think about, as an adult, how hard it is to meet friends. When you're a kid, you go to the playground and you don't care where that other kid came from. You just want to hang out and be friends. And I think this industry, sometimes it's hard. I'm a very genuine person, and I like to talk to people, and I always get sidetracked. Like, I just love to talk to people, and I'm genuinely curious about people's background, whether they're really successful or whether they're not. Like, at in planes, I'm your worst nightmare if you don't want to talk,
Oh
because
my God.
I will
My
become your
worst
friend.
nightmare
Yeah.
for sure.
If I sit next to somebody, especially if it's not like a little pod and it's
Yeah.
just like those short planes where there's no
like,
bed,
"Hi."
I will talk to them, and I like literally I made so many friends on the plane. But I think it's so rare, you know, like
Yeah, it's very rare.
because if you're going out, you go out to like an industry, a fashion event, or like somewhere, so everybody's kind of somebody. But at Hoffman, you don't have any of that. You could literally be just like somebody, I don't know, like somebody that you would have never met. So you don't really care, and everybody's there to do your own work because they want to all heal their inner child or just want to be a better person.
So you come back from Hoffman.
And that really changed me. That changed me. So anytime I was doing therapy, like my therapist and I would just really talk so honestly, openly, and I was just so self-aware of everything. Before I was not self-aware.
And obviously change your relationship.
Everything, like my relationship with my sister. My sister had like a hard time, which affected me so much too. And like that changed, like everything just,
Did you send her there too?
I would love to.
It's still the plan.
Yeah, I think it would be so beneficial for her. Whenever, but I believe in timing. There's
Yeah.
always a timing for everything.
Yeah.
And that's why I always openly talk about like therapy and Hoffman, because when it's the right timing, people will go. Because two of my best friends told me to do therapy for 5 years, and I just never did it until I was ready. So there's always,
Yeah, you have to
You have
because
to
you
be
need
ready.
to receive it, right?
Yeah.
So did it help you to also detach from this idea of like productivity and what success meant to you? Like how did it change those definitions for you?
I think before I always had this somewhat of a scarcity mindset of, oh my gosh, I have to say yes to this job. I would love this opportunity because it's such a great opportunity. I need to do yes, 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 yes. I'm tired, but it's fine. I could push through. And then it had me reevaluate what success and happiness meant to me. Like, because back then I thought traveling everywhere, showing up in beautiful clothes, that handbag, shoes, getting photographed, sitting front row, I thought that was so important because it's like a lot of people's dream.
Yeah.
But I realized, oh, I don't need to do all that. But it didn't make me like just content. I still wanted to work hard. You know, like I still wanted to do work hard, but I just wanted to work smarter.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So what does success mean to you today?
Success for me means being able to do everything I want, like having balance. Like, for an example, being very fulfilled in my career, but also being able to play my tennis, go work out, be able to pick up my kids and hang out with them, have dinner with Jacopo and my children, and then not being stressed and not feeling bad for not saying no to certain opportunities.
Not being stressed is a big one.
Yeah.
I feel like especially as women, I think we don't realize that we have this really small, quiet stress that we feel in our body all the time. And it's not loud, but that's the one that if it stays there for long enough, that's where disease happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because women tend to internalize things a lot.
Of course, we just
But men
carry
too,
it.
I feel like they don't speak about
But
it.
they're able to let it out in different ways. That's why I was asking about the methods at Hoffman, because something that I've come to at this point in my life, I was always very self-aware and I am great and intellectualizing everything, making sense of everything. I've never done therapy. I'm going to start actually soon because I'm just curious to see how far I can go with that. But what I've realized is that what I'm really craving is more of like a somatic, especially for women. I think it's very, very important to heal more through the body than just intellectually and like through the brain.
Yeah.
Because the body is what holds everything.
Yeah, body holds trauma.
Exactly. So, I've been very focused on like finding ways to let it out through movement or whatever it is. Sometimes just like honestly just jumping and like shaking. Like that all it takes. It's not this whole search for whatever, nothing crazy. That was a game changer for me. And I think that the more we're looking into the difference between men and women and how, disease affects us and which disease is more prominent for women, I think the therapy is also very individual and then also does change based on the gender. You know what I mean? So it's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, also women or men are built differently.
Yeah.
Like for an example, also I was like very into health and wellness, and I would like fast like crazy. You know, like I would do like not eat.
Like intermittent fasting.
Yeah. But for women, if you're especially like reproductive age, you shouldn't be doing intermittent fasting. It's actually so bad for you.
Yeah.
You know, like, but there were no studies back then because all these studies were done on men.
Yeah. Or the same with cold plunge.
Yeah.
I was the first one. I was like, yeah, cold plunge, because I do love the mental resilience that it gives you. But after I started noticing as I was doing it, I was like, my body is really rejecting it. And not from a place of, oh, I have to push through because that's how you get better. I was like, no, I think that something is off. And when I started looking into it, it took a couple of years for it to come out. But thankfully, there are women that are doing research for women. And I was like, oh, of course, my body rejects it. You're not supposed to
Yeah,
put
it's
yourself
crazy.
in those kind of temperatures.
It's so funny. So when I was with both babies, when I was pregnant, because I didn't know I was pregnant, and I was like, what is this little belly that I'm having? Why am I so bloated? So with Teo, I did a colonic, cold plunge, cryo, infrared sauna. I was like, why do I have this little gut? Like, it was crazy.
Oh my God.
And then with Milo, I did cold plunge without knowing I was pregnant either.
That's okay. I remember when I found out I was pregnant with my first, I was like 3 or 4 weeks pregnant, and I had like a wild girls' night out, and I was just pounding tequila shots. And when I found out at 6 weeks, all I could think about is like, oh my God, there's so much tequila in my body. Like,
Yeah.
you don't know.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
And he came out okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great. How has it been navigating motherhood while also being like a business, like an entrepreneur? Because you're also been evolving as a businesswoman,
Yeah.
and to do both of it is
It's so
quite a bit.
hard. It's so hard. And I think I'm still in the thick of it because my baby's only 8 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. And also, when you own your own business, it's not like I could take maternity.
Well,
So
you can't take a break,
with
of course.
Teo, I remember because I had a clothing line, and that was taking so much from me because I was very involved. After I gave birth to Teo, 1 week later, I was approving samples, like the swatches of the colors,
Yeah.
which is so hard, like so hard. And then with Milo, I did take 30 days of like almost no work. Like I'm not approving samples.
Yeah, my brain is not there.
Yeah. And I did a furniture collaboration with Lulu and Georgia, and they were just so good about it, like giving me space. So like this furniture thing that we came out with, it was like in the works for almost 3 years. But because of my pregnancy and maternity, like they're just so good about it. But yeah, like it's so hard when you own your own business and you want to show up for yourself because you're still passionate about your work. Thankfully, like I never lost that passion of like, oh, I don't want to work at all. Like, but it's hard because you also want to show up for your children and be there and then in a sense, because this is my second time, and I'm curious about your experience because you have 3. Like with the first one with Teo, I almost like felt like I was sacrificing myself so much. Oh, I'm so tired, but I need to do it. I need to do it all. I need to be able to show that I'm a good, hardworking woman.
Yeah.
Like just
lot
because
of
I'm a
proving.
mom, doesn't mean like I'm gonna like not do this. But then again, it's my first child. So like I was literally like draining, and I was so depressed later on. Like it came out later. There were moments where I was like psycho, like so depressed in the middle of the night. Like at 2, 3 a.m.
Well, postpartum,
Yeah.
of course.
But not really understanding like, why am I so sad? Like, oh, I don't know, I just had these crazy raging hormones, and I was just so like sad and mad. Like I was mad, but at the same time so happy that I have this precious baby. I felt like I was like, I don't know, sacrificing myself with work and being a mom. It was crazy.
Well, I had different experiences because with my first Jake and the second Benjamin, I wasn't really I wasn't working. I didn't have a career. I was going to school, but I was very much full-time mom and looking for myself. I was like, what's my next move? So I was very present. With Maximus, my third, I already had a company, and there are 15 people that are waking up every morning and like waiting for me to show up and do my thing. So for me, when I gave birth, my third, I was like in the hospital giving birth. And then an hour later, I'm like, bring me my computer. I need to answer emails.
Wow.
It was insane. So I actually had a huge crash and burnout with my third. And even looking back now, I give myself a lot of grace now, but I was mad at myself for a very long time because I feel like I really missed out on the first year, especially because I was in such work mode. I was such in like proof mode. I'm a super mom, I'm a super this. And it was just, you do sacrifice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I sacrificed, my time with my child for my work. That was kind of my journey. So it happened with a third for me, which
Yeah.
is interesting.
And it's so much pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, but the great thing is that I didn't read any parenting books and I didn't listen to any experts, so I didn't keep feeling really bad about it.
That's great. Like, I think that's also hard. There's just so much information. Sometimes I'll scroll and I see something, this and this and this is like not great for your children, or like it can affect them. I'm like, oh no.
Immediate unfollow. You don't know. I had a whole like cleaning section. I went through my Instagram. I unfollowed all the accounts. I'm so tired. There's such fatigue emotionally, but also like intellectually with all these experts that I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd subscribe for it. I'll figure it out. Because also what I've realized is that knowing more, I feel like creates more pressure and more fear with parents. And then it's not necessarily creates an environment where you are able to figure out what kind of parent you are, because a lot of us were just like, this is the right thing to do and we need to get there. We need to do this. This is the only way to do it, so we don't mess them up. So that's for me is one thing, but also each kid of mine at least requires a different parent. Like I'm a different mother with every one of them. So that's its own,
Yeah, I actually second on that with everything in general. Like knowing more doesn't always necessarily mean it's good, like that you're prepared, because I think there's some magic in not knowing everything and just diving head first.
Yeah.
Just starting. Because I get so many creators or influencers who come up to me and say, I have all this idea. How did you start? I'm like, girl, I didn't know. You just have to dive in first.
Yeah.
And I think it applies to so many different industries. Like any idea you have, like job or career or whatever, you have this business idea or whatever. You don't have everything figured out. I think it's fine. You just dive into it and then figure it out. That's the first step.
That's where the magic happens.
That's the hardest part. Just diving in, and then you'll learn along the way. Everything's going to be a learning lesson.
Is there anything looking back at your career and the decisions that you made that you wish you made different decisions about?
No, because I think everything led me to here. Sometimes I was thinking like, oh, maybe I could have done TikTok sooner, but I don't think that was the right path for me. Like, I would have burnt out.
Yeah.
Like if I just focus so much on TikTok. Right now, every content I create, I don't create a lot of content anymore either. I just do it because it's fun. So now I'm going back to my beginner mindset. I'm not creating for the likes, the engagement, how many following I have, because I do have a good platform, a good enough following. I just really do it because it's fun for me. I don't want to be stressed, so I'm not going to jump on trends. Like I have an incredible management team, so they're like, Ami, you need to do more TikTok, you need to do more trends, trending audio. I'm like, it's not for me. Like I don't, then I'm going to go back on that hamster wheel.
Yeah. Trying to keep up.
So I'm kind of like not a great influencer, but I'm happy and I feel fulfilled. I feel good. And there are things that I want to achieve and I'm still going to go for it. Doesn't mean I'm just content, but for my mental space and for now, like I'm happy.
And you know what? I think it's important to note, like you did a lot of the heavy lifting in the beginning. You built a foundation. And that's what a lot of people don't realize. Like even the people that are starting out, it's going to suck. You're going to burn out. You have to do the heavy lifting in order at some point in the future, you can be like, you know what, now I'm changing gears. I
Yeah.
don't need to do as much. That's how it works with
Yeah.
every business that you open up. You got to grind.
You have to grind. I know people, there's always like work-life balance, but in the beginning you do have to
No.
grind.
Yeah.
And it is going to suck. And there are going to be times where you're like, is this worth even doing? But you have to remember, you have to love it. I think that's the important thing. Don't think about the dollar signs. Don't think about how much you're making. Think about if you love it, because there are going to be years where you're not going to make any money. There's going to be years where you're actually going to burn out. But if you love it and if you have passion for it, you can ride through those burnouts.
I think that today being a content creator is a non-negotiable, if you ask me. Like you have
Everybody
to have a
needs to be a
personal brand.
content
Yeah.
creator.
A personal brand, and not even, I'm not saying influencer specifically, but you're your own marketing machine, and you leave a lot of power and a lot of money and opportunity on the table when you don't put yourself out there. And if you knowingly decide to, that's great, no problem. But every business owner, every brand, like you see, that's the way we do it today, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very cringy. It's very hard for a lot of people.
It's cringy until you start making money, and it's
And
like
then
you
you're
gain
like,
an audience, and it's like,
the
girl, I
cringe.
was the biggest cringe. If I think about it, I had a tripod, point and shoot in my dorm room, and sometimes at the parks because I didn't have people taking photos of me. This is so cringe.
Yeah.
And when I was traveling alone, if I didn't have a photographer, I just randomly asked somebody, "Can you take my photo?" How cringe is that? Because we didn't have like the sticky things
Yeah.
back then. Can you take a photo? But can you be a little bit lower so I look taller? Like, you know, like telling people, you just stand right there. How cringe is that? You know?
But you build a
yeah.
business, right? So let's talk about now your journey of getting kind of back. I feel like you did kind of a circle, because now you're back into the focus of your original passion, which is interior design and architecture. And I know that throughout the years, when you bought your house, you took everyone on the journey decorating your house. I loved following it because there's nothing that I hate more than interior design. Not
hate it?
because I hate it, but because it scares the hell out of me. Like I get so stressed out about it. And even our house now in Miami, I always have these like big ideas whenever we come into new space. It's hard for me to see the big picture. I don't know how to even navigate. So right now my house is like 70% there, and it's missing the personality. I was like, we're going for the whites and the very calm things because that's what I need in my life. But we need to infuse personality. So for you, when you went on your kind of journey with decorating your house, like how did you even start? Where do you begin?
So my background is interior architecture.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different from like picking out pillows, but more like the structural, because I worked at an architecture firm.
Okay.
So like I'm so good at visualizing when I come into a space, this is how the space should be. And I'm also very big on Feng Shui. Do you know what that is?
Yes, of course.
So I'm
But explain to
very-
those who don't know.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm very big onto it. So it's like about arranging things so that everything has harmony. And it's true. Like, however things are positioned, it affects how you think, how you make money, the luck that you bring into your life, money, luck, health. I just grew up with it since a young age. My parents, my grandma, they were very into it. In Asian culture, it's huge. So I was always just so into feng shui. Like, for an example, you don't want to put your back facing the door, like back towards the door. You always want to be able to face the door. Or you don't want to put a mirror directly in front of your bed. Or you don't want a staircase that goes directly out to the front door. Like, I was just always into space planning, and I always had that in mind from a very young age. I think it was just so ingrained, and I think it's so funny how I got into interior architecture, because it's all about moving spaces.
Yeah.
Those things excite me. So like with my current house, we had completely removed the main bedroom where it was to the back because it was just better for feng shui. And every house, I mean, like, has brought me so much luck and like harmony and happiness. And I'm even more like in tune with it, like, because I'm like, the home is like where you spend so much time,
Yeah.
you know? So you need it to flow for you and work for you. The energy has to be good.
I like that, because then it moves away from like the little details that you think are so important
Not
to kind of like
important,
the
yeah.
bigger things.
It's all about energy. And if it makes sense, and the materials that you use, that those have to just bring you joy. And then I don't care so much about like what are we gonna do with this pillowcase?
Yeah.
But that's important too.
But that is the one that like throws me off. It's like we don't need no pillows in this house. But I love that. I'm gonna go back to my drawing board and be like, okay, how do I move with that? Like,
Do you have an interior designer or somebody who can kind of help you? Because you don't have to do it all, girl. You're a mom. You're a successful businesswoman. You don't have to also do that.
Thank you. But you know what? It's this one thing where I'm like, I want to understand the deeper kind of meaning of it and the intention. Like I want to have an intention. I don't want to just go and, whatever, do what Pinterest tells me to do.
No, you should still work with like an interior designer.
I know. I need to find one. I have a bad run with interior designer. Everyone that I work with, I'm like,
great. No. Yeah, I was with my friend. Do you know Nara Smith? You don't know Nara
No,
Smith?
I know her, but we haven't met in person
She
yet.
just told me she fired her interior designer.
You see?
And that made me so sad, because I've always had a great relationship with my clients. And, I mean, granted, I don't take like 10 clients at a time. I'm connecting her with this other interior designer who did Beyonce's house.
Okay, so
I
she'll be good.
think she'll be fine. Yeah,
she'll figure it out.
I like to connect people, but if you need help, I can connect you with the right people.
Help is definitely what I need. So, what was the intention for you when you designed this collection for Lulu and Georgia?
I wanted all the pieces that I have, they don't have any sharp corners. So in Feng Shui, sharp corners are bad. They're not great. It's like severs relationships, arguments, brings conflict. It's too cold. Also, I have children.
Yeah.
So I only had one kid at the time, and I was not pregnant. But I was thinking, my first child, Teo, is very active. And when we first designed our house that we're currently living in, it was really meant for adults, and it's just me and Jacopo. And we're like, maybe in 5 years we'll have children. I actually got pregnant like so fast. It was crazy. My water broke the morning after I did my architectural digest shoot.
Oh my God.
Like it was crazy. So once the house was done, basically like how we wanted for us, I had a child.
I love that.
So something.
It was like, that's it. You finished your mission. It's time for me to come out.
So like some of the furniture, I mean, like didn't make sense. They made sense, but it's just like some were not like child proof. Like we're not gonna have a glass table with a kid. So when I designed this collection, I wanted to create something that works not just for families, because like all the things that are kid proof are, to me, they were so ugly. Like I was like, I don't want this in my home. It's not beautiful. It doesn't feel chic. And that's why I wanted to create a collection that made sense for people with children or they don't have children. And with Feng Shui, like I was like, it needs to be harmonious. Like it has to bring harmony, good energy, comfortable, beautiful, luxe, livable, and chic.
I love the idea of like no sharp corners. I agree. Now that I think about it, I see how it just like adds that like flow to the space.
You want the energy to always flow. You don't want it to like hit somewhere and like not go. So that's why when you live in a house, you can't have too much clutter either. Think about when you wake up in the first thing in the morning and let's say like your dining table or the entryway of your house is super clean. How good does that make you feel? As opposed to when it's like filled with clutter. How do you act when there's so much clutter? You're always like, oh, like this.
Okay, this is a public announcement to Gary. We are redesigning our house. I hope you're ready. And also, kids, you have to move out because I can't have any clutter.
Or you have spaces for them to put their clutter in.
Yeah, their rooms.
Their rooms.
This is your Feng Shui. You do your thing there. And you've done, was it such a rewarding like experience to do something like that?
Incredible. It was one of my favorite collaborations I've ever done. And I've done a lot of collaborations.
Yeah.
This was because it was over 2 years working with somebody until seeing the finished product. It was just so rewarding. I loved it. I loved working with everybody there.
Oh, that's
and
amazing.
Also, I think in this industry, because I've worked with so many brands, I've never seen more of a diverse team. Like that, it was just so incredible. Yeah, I loved it. I want to do it again.
You will do it again, I'm sure. I love the collection. It looks beautiful. And then you also decided to, add something a little extra on your plate, and you launched Amiya.
Yeah.
So tell me about the departure from being an influencer-led brand to creating Amiya, and like how do you want it to be different than Song of Style that you
Yeah.
had with Revolve?
Yeah. So with Revolve, that was also a really incredible partnership because Revolve is such a machine and they've been doing this for so long. But I did feel a burnout because we were creating 30, 40 pieces every month.
Wow.
And at one point, I was like very on it. But at one point, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to create, you know? But Revolve has such a big audience, you know? They're girls, the customers want to buy.
Yeah.
And I was just going for the same pieces over. And at some point, it didn't feel authentic for me to create 30 pieces every month. So I really felt a burnout there. I was very tired.
can imagine.
And then I also had so many people like under me that I had to manage. And that was also hard because you know like you're building something so big and then you have so many employees.
Of course.
And then there's just a lot of personalities. Then I become a manager, you know, like, and if there are certain issues arising, obviously I need to know everything. But then again, it was hard for me to manage that and then trying to be creative. Like to running a business and being the creative is just so hard to do it all. And I really needed to scale back. It was just so hard. And I was also a new mom.
And you never thought about maybe hiring kind of more of a C-level people to run it? Because it's hard to be a designer and a
Yeah.
creative and
I
manage
think
people.
the hardest part for me was I had to be still the designer because it's my brand.
Yeah.
And it's an influencer led brand. And I had to promote it so many times. You cannot delegate that. Being an influencer, being the creative, you can't
it's you.
delegate.
Yeah.
So that was a hard point, you know? So with Amiya, like I was always going for knits anyways. And button downs, that's like such a big thing for me. And then also I just had me being in like my mid 30s, almost late 30s then, like I was realizing I just really want luxurious materials. Like I will invest
Yeah.
like in an incredible quality piece that's made in Italy, handmade in Italy. So that's where the shift came and I wanted to do that.
And looking at it as a business case, considering kind of what's going on in the industry, in the fashion industry, it made sense to you.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel burnout. And also, a lot of people are now shopping a little bit less.
Yes.
They're shopping smarter. People want to invest in good quality pieces that you want to keep in your closet forever. So it just made sense for me to shift and then just create a beautiful brand that's made with the best materials.
So what are you, as a business owner, what are you going to be doing differently based on the lessons that you've learned from your previous brand? Because you are the business owner. Now you don't have like Revolve, which I'm sure they were carrying certain responsibilities on their own.
Helpful,
So now it's you fully.
It is.
How is it going to work now?
It's me and my partner Jacopo. We do it both together. So it's a joint partnership. He's actually carrying like all the heavy stuff.
He's doing the heavy lifting.
He's a great dad and a great business partner, actually. So amazing. So he does a lot of that, but we're doing less. So before I was doing 30 pieces every month. There were moments where I was doing 30 to 50. The first year was insane. And also because it's also a slightly more affordable price point back then with Song of Style. And everything was selling out so fast. I was on the high of I needed to sell out. This drop I want every month to sell out. I was just, I don't know. And also I had Revolve as partners and, you know, like they have expectations.
Yeah.
And I don't want to let them down. So it was all about numbers. Now, because these are less quantities, like I'm not doing 30 SKUs in a month. It's more like 20 SKUs a season. So I have so much more breathing room. And then because I don't have so many employees, it's just me and Jacopo, we don't have a crazy overhead. So we're not obsessed about selling out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
you don't have to manage people, which is the hardest thing ever.
So we're doing things much slower. Of course, the growth is going to happen slower, but we're fine. Like, I know, because we're both so passionate about it. We're passionate about beautiful, fine knits, passionate about incredible button downs, you know, quality. We're passionate about it. So we don't care. It's fine. As long as you're passionate about it, even if we're not making insane amount of money yet,
Yeah.
we love it. It's okay.
And you're self-funded.
We're self-funded, us too. Yeah.
And
Jacopo does the shipping. He literally
cute.
does the boxing.
Okay, so people know that when they get a package, it's Jacopo.
From Jacopo and me. Yeah, like sometimes Jacopo does the drop-offs. Sometimes I do the drop-offs. Whenever we see the same person ordering multiple times, we're like, yes, you know?
I love it.
And sometimes like Jacopo and I are like, should we write a note? No, we shouldn't. Like we want to be like chic, you know?
It'd be like so excited.
Like
Thank you so
I know
much.
when it's like the same person ordering over and over again, it makes us so happy because it makes you think like they really like the quality, so they're ordering
it's validating,
again.
reaffirming that what you guys are doing is great.
It's great because with Revolve, I didn't know who was ordering except when they posted on social because I don't have that data.
Yeah.
With Amiya, literally, I could see exactly what country, what city, you know, their name, and I'm like, oh, so
That's
nice.
so nice. Yeah, I feel like it brings back the magic to a brand, you know. But so you're doing this full time. You don't do the interior. Do you work still with clients? No, you don't. And you're self-funded.
For Amiya, yes.
For Amiya.
Yeah.
Does Jacopo, what was Jacopo? Was he always part of like your personal brand
No,
or
zero.
no?
We never, this is our first time working together.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously when we traveled, he would take my photos. So he used to be a photographer, like an incredible photographer. And then he had his own production company where he would do shoots and shows for people. And now he's full-time, like Amiya and dad.
Is that scary?
It's so scary because for him even more so because I'm still doing influencer stuff, but for him he had to dive in fully, but it makes him like it lights a fire on him because
now you have 2 kids, there's a whole thing that
this
you have
has to work, you know.
How's it been working together?
Incredible. Thank God that we both did therapy, Hoffman.
Post therapy, incredible.
Girl, if we did not do Hoffman, we probably would not be together. I swear to God, we would not be together. I would not have had kids with him. Yeah, after Hoffman is when I realized I want him to be my baby daddy, and that's how I knew he was the one. And we're still not married yet, but yeah.
Are you gonna get married?
We got engaged, and then I got pregnant. So I hope
the timelines are a little
hopefully I
different.
can have a wedding next year. Yeah,
we'll see. It would be with the kids. That would be so
crazy.
nice.
Yeah, and cute.
And your family is here, right? Jacopo's family is in Italy.
Yeah, in Milan.
In Milan. Yeah. Okay. You guys travel a lot.
A lot
to visit.
Yeah, and then they were here when we were gone for a long period. So both of us did Paris Fashion Week because Jacopo was also like selling the clothes. So we're doing wholesale for the first time. It was direct to consumer, and we did sales appointments in Paris. So Jacopo had to be there.
Yeah,
we were both gone for like almost like 2 weeks, and so then we flew Jacopo's parents to LA, and they were with the kids, so that they're with family.
I am so excited. Like I love hearing when people are starting new projects and something they haven't done before, because I'm sure it's filled with so much like a lot of question marks, like it's his first time even doing the wholesale, you know, meeting with people, like it's very new
and intimidating and scary.
Yeah,
it's so scary, but we are every day we're learning along the way. But like I said,
and doing it together, which is so fun.
We're building something together. But remember how you were saying like not knowing and just diving in first?
Yeah.
Because now that if I knew everything that I know, because it's just so much work, it's an insane amount of work, I think I would have been scared and not done it because it's so much work. But sometimes you just have to be naive and dive in first and be like, okay, I'll learn along the way. And that's how you're going to be successful with everything.
100%. Oh, I'm so excited to see where this is gonna go. Okay, so if you look back at the Aimee that you were before kids and the Aimee post kids, what are like some of the biggest lessons or reflections that you've had?
I have so much more patience, not just for me, but for everybody in this whole world. When I meet somebody, I just think of them as a kid or what they lacked. If you know, like for an example, like if a waitress is like so rude to you just randomly or something, I'm like, oh, she must have had a hard day, or maybe this is her first day at her work. I don't know. Or I just have more grace. Yeah. Much more grace. Before I was like so snappy and judgmental. Oh, rude. You know, like I would just always think that way with other people. But I'm just much more like, oh, I have grace. I'm more patient, even with children. I'm just so much. If I see a mom at an airport, I will want to help her no matter what. Like, I just have
Yeah.
so much more grace and understanding.
And that's a superpower, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we miss so many moments in life because we come from the perspective of like judgment, and it's kind of more about you. Like, why are they rude to me? What, you make
So
it all
much of
about
that.
you. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like a black hole that you find yourself in.
Yeah.
So I agree. That is one of the best
Is
thing that
that
motherhood
what
taught
about
me.
you? What's like the biggest difference you see pre-mom and post-mom?
I definitely relate to this idea of like you starting to see everyone as children. And it actually started first showing up for me in my marriage, right? Because I started looking at Gary as like a young boy, and so many things made more sense. And I started approaching it and situations in different ways. So I think that was really brought me and made me more connected to him. Another thing that I really like, something that taught me, is my kids teach me something all the time, but also again that like I get really inspired by that freedom of expression and of play, and seeing that around me all the time snaps me out of this like adult loop, you know? And I love that. That's to me is probably the biggest gift. And I understand why people keep having more and more kids, because you're like, I need this chaos and energy around me, you know? So that's kind of the way I've changed the most, because I wanted to grow up fast when I was younger. I was like, I need to be an adult. I need to. And I did. I left home so early that I was like figuring it out by myself, and I just grew up too fast. So I had the opposite of what you had. I was like, okay, I'm mature and I'm aware, and it's annoying.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
recommend.
a lot on you. Yeah.
I don't recommend. What about aging? Because how old are you now?
38.
Wow, I love
Yeah.
that. Okay, you're getting to like the really cool
It's crazy because
eras
I
now.
don't feel so old. I still feel so immature.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Did you ever had any kind of challenges with just like getting older, or just thinking about,
I think just age, whenever people hear the age, it just makes you sound older. And they're just like, but in my heart, I just feel so much like a kid. Because, like 40 is coming so close. And 40 just sounds like such a big number, like an adult,
yeah.
like a woman.
And you're like, who, me?
And I don't feel that way. And I'm like, damn, like it's crazy. 40 seems so old,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I feel that the past 2 years, my understanding and feeling about those ages have changed completely, because I started seeing so many examples of 40-year-olds and 50-year-old women that I'm like, oh,
look great.
that's the prime.
yeah. They
What
look
we're
insane.
we're still like little kids running around. Like I
Yeah.
haven't reached it yet.
Yeah. But there's this pressure of women have to be young because, like, I lie about my age all the time. If I
Really?
random person asks me at tennis, I'm like, I'm 29, 33.
Which, by the way, you can pass 100%. But
Thanks.
why?
I don't know. Isn't that awful? And then it's so funny because I was just watching this, rewatching this movie, This Is 40. Have you seen that? You need to watch it. You're very young, right? How old are you?
No, I'm turning 35 in September.
You
Wait,
look like a baby.
thank
So,
you.
okay, This Is
that's
40?
with Leslie or
Yes, Leslie Mann. So, and I was like, that's me, because she's at the doctor's office, and then the girl comes in and is like, oh, so like, are you 39 or 38? Or like, cause you put like whatever birthday here this time, but last time when you came in, you put a different year. I'm like, fuck, that's me.
You have to
I'm
make
like-
sure you keep up with the
I'm like,
stories you tell.
yeah, literally, because okay, my friend, do you know Elaine Welterroth?
No.
We have the same birthday, but I tell everybody I'm like 35 or 33. And Elaine keeps telling we're the same age because we have the exact same birthday. And I'm like, Elaine, you're like, stop. I'm like, "Girl."
You need to align
Because
on a
I
version.
think, unfortunately, right now, even though 40s and 50s people look great, people are just so obsessed with age. Like how you just asked me, how old are you? Like people are just so obsessed with milestones and age that I think that makes women just feel like oh, I don't know, like,
But you kind of redefine it for yourself, because to me, like, I think
Yeah.
I'm going to reach the peak of my career at like 50.
Yeah.
Like what I'm doing right now is child play.
love it.
So to me, it's very much change. Even seeing my mom is going to be 55. She's like a young woman.
Yeah.
You know, she parties, she dressed up.
Love
Like,
it.
that's what I see. So my definition has changed. Like
Yeah.
before, those numbers used to scare me.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh my God, I got
it's
still
just a
so much to
number.
learn and do.
Yeah.
Maybe you should talk to a therapist about
Yeah.
this.
No, but it's more like a funny thing. I think it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
me mentally. I think it's just how society sees
Of
it
course.
when you hear these numbers. Because
Yeah.
everybody's always saying, like, if there's like a woman, like a celebrity, they're like, oh my gosh, she looks so good for her age. Or like
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
You know, like, why do we have to say that?
Yeah.
You know? Like, why can't
She's
we
just
just
like,
say
"She
she
looks
looks
great."
good? Why do you have to say, oh my gosh, she looks so good for 50? Like, why is that such a thing? I don't know.
That's a good point. But I think we need like a point of comparison. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
To emphasize the point.
But but to your point, whenever I see like certain women in their 40s and 50s, I'm just like, ooh,
I know.
wow,
I know.
you know?
I've actually been so into what's going on with Nicole Kidman, how she started picking up all these like super sexy roles. I'm like, yes, we need to see more of that.
That's true. Yeah.
So
not just somebody's mom.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
And
things
there's
are
also
changing.
nothing wrong with being somebody's mom. Everybody needs to stop using mom as like a negative thing. Like, you know how like some people say, oh, she's a mom, or like, oh, I feel like a mom, or like,
But I think because we need to redefine it. As
Yeah.
women, we need to redefine it for ourselves.
like moms are the coolest.
The coolest.
Superwoman. I do so many things that I never thought I could do now that I'm mom. I'm like, girl, I could do anything.
I know.
I gave birth. Like, I could do
Created
anything.
life.
Yeah.
Don't you sometimes like look back and think about what you, like the challenges you faced when you were 20s, in your 20s, or even early 30s before kids, and you're like, oh my God, that was nothing. What is this nonsense that I was thinking about?
Yeah. You know what my sister says every day? She
What?
looks at me and she's like, Ami, even though if I have like a hard time, I'm going through a hard time, I think about you and you have to do it with kids. No, she's like, and
That's
that makes me
actually
feel
such a
better.
good
So
point.
anybody going through a hard time, just think about it. At least
Just
you
think
don't have
about a
kids.
mom.
Yeah, because moms, we got to do it also with kids.
Oh my God, I love it. Ami, this was so fun.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that I had an opportunity to sit down and kind of get like but this version of
Yeah.
you know, because we heard so much about like the beginning of your journey and who you were. So hopefully you're going to continue sharing
Thank you
your
so
evolution.
much. Yeah.
And
Thank you for having me.
anytime.
And you
Thank
look so beautiful,
Oh,
like
thank
glowing.
you.
Since I'm like, I can't stop staring at you.
Thank you. It's because I'm without my kids, so I slept. My Aura ring is popping. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't miss my newest episode right here. And if you're listening to the podcast on Apple or Spotify, please go and leave a review with your biggest takeaway. I love reading your thoughts. They inspire me. So if you have any suggestions for guests or topics, you can leave them in the comment section. And always remember, you are not alone.